Getting scammed sucks. Nobody likes it. And today I'm going to tell you a story of how I got scammed. I'm not totally confident in calling it a scam, but I'll let you guys decide that, so stick around and listen to a little story time with Prozzy. Now, if you've ever been in Taiwan, you'll realize rather quickly that it is damn near impossible to get around outside of Taipei without a scooter or a motorcycle. And I needed one bad because walking to and from work in this heat was just not going to work for me. So I went online and found some Irish guy was selling his old ass Yamaha SR150, which I thought was super cool. I went down to Kaohsiung, checked it out. It had cool retro styling. It was black and square. It had cool spoked rims. It was just kind of that older kind of style bike that I really liked, and so I bought it. Now you might be thinking, Prozzy, is this the scam? It's not, but hang on, because it's gonna lead up to that. Not long after, the bike obviously started having issues. The valves would fail, I would take it to the mechanic, and of course, in true mechanic fashion, he would just show me a huge list of all the other things that needed replacing, and so I did. I dropped 10 grand replacing everything in that engine. And the idea being is that I'll never have to replace it again. I can just sort of, the bike will last for as long as possible, or so I thought. I lent the bike to Winston, he took it around all around Taiwan with sea milk, and then this happened.
One day I was riding down this road, the main street in Taichung. It's probably the busiest, longest road on my way to my job interview for my current job. And I was going down this road at maybe, I don't know, 60, 65 kilometers an hour. Really excited to see this new kindergarten I was about to work for. And as I'm driving along, my rear wheel suddenly locked. Cars and scooters are zipping by me, honking their horns. I got no idea what the hell is going on. I start fishtailing out of control. I've been riding for a few years now, and I've crashed more times than I'd like to admit. And I'd like to think that all those times crashing helped me to take my bike to a stop safely. I didn't know what the hell happened. I got off my bike trying to figure out what was going on. Did my rear brake lock up? Did my transmission explode? What the hell? Now, I'm not the strongest person in the world, but I pushed that bike off the side of the road onto one of these sidewalk things, and that's when I saw that my center stand had fallen off the bottom of my bike, bounced off the road, and had itself wrapped around my rear wheel, locking it up. It was one of the craziest things I've ever seen happen. I mean, it's bolted right to the frame of the bike. How the hell does that fall off?
So that bike was completely done. It was dead. But the problem was I had this new job and I had to get to it. It was really far away. It wasn't a walkable distance. And so I was in a hurry. I really needed a bike and I needed one fast. So I thought in order to get something that was a little bit more reliable, I would go to a scooter shop. And scooter shops, I thought, would have to maintain some kind of reputation to make sure that everything they sell is mechanically sound. So I went to the mechanic shop, and here is actual footage I took of me trying to buy that scooter at the shop. Check it out. Hi, welcome to the Totally Honest, not gonna sell you a total piece of shit scooter for all your money company. How can I help you? Hi, I'm looking for a scooter that's not a total piece of shit. It's gonna take all my money. Well, you sure came to the right place. I did. You did. So what do you got? Well, how about this one? It's a great scooter. It is? It is. It hasn't been in any accidents, has it? In Taiwan? Never. Oh, and I totally don't need to look into it, do I? You sure don't. Say, mister, you're not trying to take all my money for a total piece of shit, are ya? Who, me? Come on. Let's see, that'll be all your fucking money, please. Makes sense to me. Here you go. So without thinking, I bought this scooter for $67,000. It was a 2016 Yamaha S-Max that I was told had absolutely nothing wrong with it, never been in an accident, only 5,000 kilometers on the odometer. Pretty fair price. It's not a steal, it's not too expensive. It's a pretty good deal for that kind of scooter. About a month later, I started noticing issues with the bike. It would just turn off at a red light magically. It would just stop working. I had no idea what was going on with it. Brakes were completely warped. There were certain parts of the body that just wouldn't quite fit. There were certain fenders that were a bit off. This bike just had something wrong with it. It didn't feel like a new-ish bike that I thought that it was. So I figured I bought it from a shop. They might be able to help me out. I wanted to take the scooter back, but what do you know? That shop, the doors were closed for good. And that's when I realized pretty sure I had been scammed. You see, I really did ask those people at the shop if this bike was totally legit, never been in any accidents, no issues. They told me, nope, all good, ready to go. And I did take the bike out for a test ride, had a quick look, and it didn't really seem like anything was wrong. And again, I was in a huge rush to get it. So completely my fault. This was completely avoidable, but I didn't really know some things back then that I wish that I did. You see, it wasn't until, I don't know, a year later, I was hanging out at my friend Josh and Tina's shop with a bunch of Taiwanese people, and I parked my bike next to an identical other scooter. This thing had the same color, same year and everything, but I noticed its condition was way better. You see, on my bike, the red fenders were completely faded into sort of an orange. Someone had taken a hacksaw and just like drilled this hole into the side of the scooter in the sort of the transfer case in this plastic box. No idea why they would need to do that. But this guy's bike was in way better condition than mine, and I take care of my bikes. I change the oil, I keep it clean, I do all the stuff you're supposed to be doing. And so we got to talking, and this guy also agreed I might have been scammed. And so what he did, and I didn't know you could do this, is ran my plates through some kind of registry, and you can check the history of a scooter's past if it's ever been in any accidents. And what do you know? My scooter had been in a massive accident before I bought it, completely totaled, in fact. And this shop took that scooter, bought a whole bunch of third-party parts for it, and put it back together to make it kind of workable and somewhat new-ish, at least good enough to sell for a quick buck. And my dumbass walked into that shop in a rush, dumped all my money on that scooter, and drove away with a complete piece of shit. So the internals aren't legit Yamaha, I'm pretty sure. This thing just turns off all the time. I've since replaced everything, of course, but that was a super annoying thing to have happen to me. So now the scooter just runs fine, but I was a little bit disappointed, to be honest with you, because people usually associate scams with happening back in China, where I had owned loads of different bikes. So I sort of thought if I could own a whole bunch of bikes and never really come across any true scams back in China, a place notorious for scams. I moved to Taiwan and the first bike I buy from a shop is kind of a scam. I was a little disappointed in that. And I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea about Taiwan. Scams aren't as common here as they are in other places kind of more associated with scams, but still, it was kind of disheartening to have that happen. But like I said, this isn't Taiwan's fault. This is entirely my fault. With my experience, the amount of bikes I've owned, and the amount of used bikes experience I've had, you'd think that I'd be smart enough to do all the checks and go through the necessary processes, but I didn't, because I didn't really know any better. I didn't really know how it worked in Taiwan, but still, I'm a complete idiot and it's totally my fault. And all those bikes I own, it's not because I'm rich, I just want to make sure that that's clear. It's just, you know, people would leave China or I would inherit them or we would find them and fix them up. And so I've owned loads of bikes. So it feels extra stupid that I was scammed out of a new one. I mean, I was really excited. This is the first new bike, new-ish bike that I've ever bought from a shop, you know, the whole thing, the whole like legitimate thing or so I thought. So I was excited to finally have a bike that I could call, you know, better, a little bit newer and flashier than all those old bikes I've owned. So let this be a lesson to you guys. This is another reason I want to share this video. It's not to knock on Taiwan or anything like that. It's just that if you're looking for a scooter, I would totally recommend just getting an older one. Some old Kymco carbureted scooter, they don't die and they're just as much fun and they're a fraction of the cost. They're amazing. I definitely can't wait for this thing to die because the next bike I'm gonna buy is gonna be an older scooter. I love having them. I like to be able to work on them and change certain things and not have to worry about them. Especially here in Taiwan, your scooter is gonna have scratches. People are gonna bump into it, so you may as well just buy an old piece of shit. They're great. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this really quick story. If you did, leave a like down below. Let me know if you have any experiences riding here in Taiwan. Hit the subscribe button, it really helps. You can follow me on Instagram at @prosy_SR. I also have a Patreon for extra content, and I'll see you guys on the next one.